What's going on, Colts Nation? Appreciate you joining me today. Little Sunday stroll. I haven't done a Sunday stroll in a while. We've had other content to cover. But I wanted to do a roster projection and figure I'd just do it live and do it with you guys as we go through this. I haven't put it together. I haven't had time to put it together, so we're going to do it together right here, So let me switch over here. Okay, let me switch this. Boom, boom. I think we can. That's a pretty good view of it. Okay, like where we're at here. Good. Let me see. I'll probably be in the way if I try to do anything. Let's bring this down yonder. Ralph, what's going on, man? Appreciate you stopping by. Always in the comments, always in the chat. I appreciate you, man. All right. I think we're good to go. So, again, we're going to do this together. I haven't counted. We're going to keep counting as we go. Obviously, Matt Gay, assuming he's the one that makes the roster, Matt Gay and Rigo are going to be 1 and 2. So, we're going to start at 3. Okay, and we're going to start with some easy stuff, okay? We have Anthony Richardson, 3. Joe Flacco, 4. Question is, who takes up the emergency quarterback role? Okay, the emergency quarterback will count toward the 53-man roster, but will not count toward the active players on Sunday. Okay, so assuming we take an emergency quarterback, I think that the smart thing to do would be before Tuesday. Okay, Tuesday, if you're not going to read the description, just so you know, Tuesday's the deadline. Okay, teams have to cut their rosters by a certain time Tuesday. I couldn't find the time. Didn't look that hard. I just know it's Tuesday is the deadline. It's usually 4 o'clock for things in the NFL, so that's what I'm assuming. 4 o'clock by Tuesday, have to cut down to 53. So by that time, can the Colts find a team like the Chargers or like the Vikings where we can trade Sam Ehlinger for a 5th round or 6th round, 7th round pick in 2026, right? Not worried about where we can get it. Just can we get anything in return for Sam, or do we just cut him, right? And somebody else ends up taking him and keep Jason Bean. Okay, I've been pretty upfront about the fact that I think Jason Bean is the future in terms of a backup for Anthony Richardson. I think it just makes the most sense with the skill set that he has, with what he's shown in the preseason. I think he just matches this style of offense the best. If we have to have an emergency quarterback, I think he's the better option over Sam, right? I think in terms of, arm talent, what people call arm talent, how good he is at throwing the ball, right? The velocity, the accuracy, it's not incredible, but it's better than Sam. I feel more comfortable with him throwing than Sam. So if you're asking me, I think it's Jason Bean that should take that spot. We should see if we can get anything back for Sam. And hey, if we let Sam go, maybe we can come to an agreement for him to come back, be on our practice squad, and be a part of the team. Who knows if that'll happen? But I think that's the way I would go if I'm Chris Ballard, is just taking your chances, getting rid of Sam, Jason being the future as the backup for Anthony Richardson. Okay, so then that's 5, okay? We're punter, kicker, 3 quarterbacks. So as we go forward, let's go ahead and look at these running backs. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor is going to make 6. And then going forward, what's the discussion going to be here? I think Demetric Felton, despite the 40-yard touchdown run, you could probably take him out of it. But I do think Trey Sermon is in the conversation. He's been hurt. Other guys have stepped up and performed in the preseason, right? You have Tyler Goodson, who's had some good, had some bad. Offensive line play probably plays into that a little bit, right? You also have Xavier Scott. See, the reason I don't want to talk about offensive line play is because Xavier Scott came in, and again, not every run was a banger, but Xavier Scott looked really good. I really like the explosiveness that he shows, the twitchiness. Obviously, he's a little bit undersized, but thought that he looked really good through the preseason. So Xavier Scott, I liked him stepping up. I liked Evan Hull stepping up, somebody that I expect to take over that number 2 spot at running back behind Jonathan Taylor at some point this season. So Evan Hull for sure going to make the team. He's 7. And then I do think we take 4 running backs, just like we did last year. We had 4 running backs all year. I think it makes sense to do it again this year and to have that kind of depth so that you can keep Jonathan Taylor fresh if you need to. And if you have the ability to, right, hopefully we're at least competitive in enough games and winning enough games where you don't have to run Jonathan Taylor into the ground like we did in 2021. So with going with the other guys here, this is going to put us at 9, and I'm going to go with Tyler Goodson and Xavier Scott, strictly because availability is the best ability in the NFL. You hear so many people, it's so cliche at this point, but I think it's true. All right, you got to be able to be available. Trey Sermon's been out. It's not like he's dealt with a bunch of injuries. He also hasn't played a bunch in his career, so it's not like he's going to deal with a bunch of injuries. But I just feel like because he's been injured, because he hasn't been there to be a part of the competition, I think there's a good chance Trey Sermon gets cut. Maybe he comes back to our practice squad. Maybe somebody else picks him up. It's not like he's bad when he's available. He's good. So we'll see what happens with him. But I do think those are the 4: Jonathan Taylor, Tyler Goodson, Xavier Scott, Evan Hull, number 2 running back. But I think behind Jonathan Taylor, it's going to be a committee of the guys, and I think they'll be used in different ways, and hopefully none of them ever have to be running back 1 for us. My apologies. Just had to get that one out the way. Been pushing it back. Had to get the first one out the way. All right, so next, let's go ahead. Talk about receivers. I think receivers is pretty self-explanatory for the most part. Like when you start talking about practice squad and who we'll keep, it might get a little murky. But for the time being, we'll look here where we have Alec Pierce, A.D. Mitchell, Josh Downs, Anthony Gould. Those 4 are going to make it. KT, see you in there. What's up, buddy? But those are the 4 that are going to make it, right? So where are we at here? We're at Matt Gay, Rigo. Those are 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 9, 4. So we're 13. We're at 13 with the receivers. Josh Downs, Anthony Gould, Alec Pierce, A.D. Mitchell, Michael Pittman Jr. makes 14. Is there a conversation? I've seen some people talking about maybe Ashton Doolin doesn't make it, right? We like Laquan Treadwell. Does he make it? DJ Montgomery's played for us in the past. Does he make it? Who else we got here? I don't think Juwan Winfrey, Tyree Cleveland, and not really. Derek Sluica, looked pretty good, but never moved up the depth chart, so not really. Greg Ward, not really. I just think so. Really, the conversation for me comes to those top wide receivers, right? DJ Montgomery, Laquan Treadwell, have either of those guys done enough to get rid of Ashton Doolin, right? We have plenty of cap space. We don't need to get rid of a veteran to squeeze out a little bit of cap space. And Ashton Doolin's incredible on special teams. He's looked good, in my opinion. So I think, looked good on his legs. Coming off a torn ACL, I think he's looked good on his legs. So in my opinion, I think Ashton Doolin makes it. That makes our 6th receiver and puts us at 15 for the offense. And then, of course, the 5 starters on the offensive line. That's going to put us at 20. And when you look past that, the question is how many offensive linemen are we going to take? And I'm at a point where I don't know if we should take Blake Freeland. I thought Blake Freeland looked really bad in the preseason. Do you waste a roster space on him? You look at who else we can take. Arlington Hambright was here. Truett, what's up, man? Appreciate you stopping by. People rolling in slowly but surely. Appreciate you all stopping by, man. Yeah, I think Arlington Hambright was here last year. He has flexibility to play at the guard position. See, I think he was in at left guard in this last game. He has flexibility throughout the entire offensive line. So Arlington Hambright, I think, is a dark horse to make the team. He was here last year, on and off the practice squad. I think he had some time on the active roster last season. So he's slated in behind Braden Smith and Mac Savas. Mac Savas is definitely going to make it. Dalton Tucker definitely going to make it. So that makes 21-22. Tanner Bortolini makes 23. And do we take more people on the active roster? If you're going to take another offensive lineman, right, it's going to be Arlington Hambright for me. And I believe that's 24, right? So, and it's Arlington Hambright because of his flexibility. Danny Pinter, veteran guy coming off an injury. We drafted somebody to take his spot. So that's one of those hard decisions. Team loves him, but are we going to keep him? I think Dalton Tucker deserves to stay with what he put on tape. Tanner Bortolini's the future. Are you really going to let him go? Somebody you drafted, somebody you like, somebody that performed well at center and at guard through the preseason. He's a little undersized, but I think he did well through the preseason, so I wouldn't cut bait with him. I think he's the future at that inside position. But it really, I guess that depends on what they want to do with Ryan Kelly, right? Is Ryan Kelly, do they plan on signing him back? Is that what they want to do going forward? Do they want to let him finish his career here? And who knows how long that's going to be. So maybe you're looking at Tanner Bortolini not really having a position here, right? Now, he'd be good depth. I'd be more comfortable with him as a depth piece than Danny Pinter, which is why I say Danny Pinter. That just might have to be the tough decision for him to go. So that's where I'm at. So that we're at, 24 with that. And then you have tight ends. Tight ends is where the conversation gets tricky. Last year, I believe we took 5 most weeks in the games. And I sit here and think about, I think 4. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, because Jelani Woods was hurt all year, right? Which is what makes the conversation tough. With Jelani Woods healthy, it makes the conversation tough. Actually, Jelani Woods not healthy. I never made a video about that. Just in case you guys didn't hear, Jelani Woods is going to be out for 4 months. The hope is that he comes back by Christmas. We hope he comes back by Christmas. That is Jelani Woods this year. Obviously, going to start the year on IR. You got to expect that. So he's not even going to matter. Question is, does he get cut anyways? Right? Do we even waste the time of him being on the roster? Are you going to keep him on? Well, so I guess that would be the smart thing. You put him on IR. You keep him. If anything happens to any of the tight ends through the season, you can activate him off IR and use him later in the season. So that's what we'll do. That's the course of action we'll take. Jelani Woods almost certainly going to go on IR. As I just sit here and go through it, almost certainly going to go on IR. So unfortunate from that regard. He's once again going to be out for a long time. Then you look at the other ones, which makes things easier, honestly. Mo Cox, Kylan Granson, Drew Ogletree, Will Mallory. Those are the guys that are going to make the active roster, in my opinion, which puts us at, 28? Which gives us 25 guys for the defense. And let's see, we have 28, but we're counting Matt Gay and Rigo. We're counting those guys in that. So we pulled 26 from the offense. Then the specialist, that leaves us 25 for the defense. Now, I guess really that leaves us 24 for the defense because we need to count Luke Rhodes. Luke Rhodes is a long snapper, so we got 24 that we can pull from the defense. We're going to start from 1 on that end of things. So this is going to be tough, man. Slimming down the defense is not going to be an easy task. So let's do that together. And, hey, as we go through this, I know you guys are listening and you're here for my projections. But, hey, don't be afraid to let me know what your opinion is of this stuff in the chat. I want to hear what you guys have to say and who you think should be making the roster as well. So we're going to start here at defensive end. Obviously, Kwity Paye. Isaiah Land makes a team. He can really help in passing situations. Yeah, that's exactly what we were about to talk about. I think Isaiah Land is going to be somebody that makes a team. And, man, our defensive ends, like under Latu, the defensive end room is a lot like the tight end room where there's some depth there. It's not a bunch of superstars, but it's a bunch of guys who can produce for you and can come in and be valuable for you in different spots, right? I think it's really similar, defensive end and tight end. So what we have here, we might have to adjust this. I did not go through this before this. So going through 24, Kwity Paye is 1, Latu is 2. DeForest Buckner, Tommy Ade, though, that makes 4. Grover Stewart, Raekwon Davis, that's 6. Tyquan Lewis, Dio Dingbo, make 8. So if we add Isaiah Land, we're taking 9 from the entire defensive line. Having a 9-man rotation. Okay, so we're going to stay at 9 right there. How y'all doing today? Do you think Mo Alley ever turns it around and becomes a consistent tight end for us? Or is that ship sailed? Titanic? Yeah. I mean, that's a really good question. Yeah, you guys talk about that in the comments. That's kind of how I want things to be. It's completely okay for you guys to have your own little conversations over there. But I think Mo Alley is Mo Alley, right? He's a great run blocker. He's a smart veteran player. That's the value that he brings. He's a smart veteran player. And I think we can use that, right? But he is what he is, in my opinion. But coming back to the defense again, we're at 9 here. And then we move to linebackers. I think that gets a little tough because Cameron McGrone did really good in the first preseason game and really stood out, but never really stood out after that. So EJ Speed, 10. Zaire Franklin, 11. Segan Alubi, 12. Grant Stewart, 13. Jalen Carlisle, 14. Cameron McGrone, 15. And we'll just stay with those 6, right? 9 on the defensive line, 6 linebackers. Let's see what we have in the secondary. We're at 15, so we can take 9 of these guys. Is there going to be 9? And I think, man, see, this is where it gets tough. Okay, let's go through. We need 9 of these guys. We're at 15. Juju, Dallas Flowers, 17. Let me not block these guys. Let me scroll down. There we go. So you can see what I'm seeing. Juju and Dallas Flowers makes 17. Jalen Jones makes 18. Kenny Moore makes 19. And of the corner, you can't only take 4 corners, right? So I think DJ Baker, I had heard that DJ Baker was doing better in training camp and looked good throughout training camp, at least looked better. I'll have to go through the last 2 games. After we're done here, I'm going to go through Cardinals tape. I'm going to go through Bengals tape and start looking at these guys in depth and start breaking down different tape on different guys. And start really cutting things down. But I think DJ Baker could be another one that makes it. And then, so that makes 5. That puts us at 20 for the defense. I feel like Chris Lamons has a good chance of taking that spot. I'd like it to be Mike Abraham. But I think Chris Lamons would be a sixth corner. And maybe we keep it at 5. We're going to keep it at 5. Yeah, man. It's a dangerous game to play not having a backup nickel. But I think Nick Cross has experience in the nickel. Right? Because then you take... So, yeah, we'll take 5 corners, which puts us at 20. So we need 4 safeties. So, Nick Cross, Julian Blackman, I want to say we keep Ronnie Harrison for the role that he plays in Gus Bradley's defense. But we have Jalen Carl. We drafted Jalen Carlisle to do that. So this is tough. What do you guys think, man? What do you guys think about the safeties? I knew this was going to be the toughest part. Because I think the offense is set. I think the way we did the offense, that's the way it's got to go. I don't think, when you're building the offense around your young quarterback, I think that's the way you got to do it. You have to have those weapons. You need those running backs behind Jonathan Taylor so you're not running him into the ground. You need those 4 tight ends, that committee at tight end. Right? Because are you going to take the chance of cutting one and losing out on that talent? You need the offensive linemen and the depth at offensive line just in case so you can protect your quarterback. And if you let Isaiah Land go, somebody's going to pick him up. He's not coming back to practice squad. Because, Rodney Thomas feels like they're probably going to keep Rodney Thomas. And I feel like they keep Ronnie Harrison. So are we going to take 5 corners and 4 safeties? Is that the move? I almost don't like the way I just built this team. But this is a good problem to have, right? The way we're going through this, it's like now we have to make the hard decisions. That's what you want, right? You want to have to make hard decisions. So this is a good spot to be in, right? The bottom of the roster has gotten better from year to year, right? If you look at the end of 2021 and the team we had in 2021, I think the bottom of the roster right now looks better than the bottom of the roster then. I think that's credit to Chris Ballard and his guys, but also Shane Steichen, and Gus Bradley and the coach. Excuse me, the different coaches on the roster, working together to say, hey, we need to get better in this department. Maybe we can look at this guy, this guy, this guy. And I think what they're starting to build, the roster is definitely looking better because cutting this down is not going to be easy. I understand 100% why the Colts haven't made a single cut, even though they played the early game on Thursday in Week 3. They could have already been making cuts. The deadline to make these cuts is on Tuesday, and they haven't made any cuts yet. So I understand from their place it's really hard to make these decisions. So many young guys that have good talent that have flashed here in the preseason and that other teams are very likely to try to pick up. Now, will our players see, and that's the thing, not every team is as deep as this. Not every team is making difficult decisions. For them, there are plenty of teams that are looking for more cornerback depth. There are more teams looking for defensive end depth. So not all these guys are going to make it back to our practice squad, which is the tough part, right? And then you start thinking, if we did cut people, who would make it back to practice squad? And, how does that process really work, right? I'd have to probably go through and read like bylines and stuff like that through NFL code. And I probably should at some point, right? If I'm out here doing this, I probably should look at the details and know the details of it. But at the end of the day, I'm just a fan like you guys, right? And sharing my opinion. Having good conversation with other parts of Colts Nation, right? That's kind of just what we do here. Man, I think that's how it is. So let's go back through this real quickly. Maybe people have joined in and weren't here at the very beginning. Okay, so what we have here: Anthony Richardson, Joe Flacco, Jason Bean as the third emergency quarterback, will take up a roster spot on the 53, but will not be a part and will not count towards the active roster on Sunday. The emergency quarterback, Jason Bean. And then I have Jonathan Taylor, no Trey Sermon, Tyler Goodson, Xavier Scott, Evan Hull, no Demetric Felton. So we're taking 4 running backs. Trey Sermon, Demetric Felton are the guys that are going to be left out there. Okay, and then we look at receivers. Downs, Gold, Pierce, Mitchell. Those are the 4 guys we take from here. Winfrey, Cleveland, Sluka, Ward couldn't end up on the practice squad or just somewhere else. Then we look up here. The other receivers, Michael Pittman Jr. and Ashton Dulin. I'd love to see Laquan Treadwell make it. I just don't know if he will. I hope he ends up on our practice squad. He made some plays. Another team might pick him up to be a depth piece. That would not surprise me at all. I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles pick him up. Well, just to be 100, right? They trade for Jahan Dotson, but they're going to want more depth, right? So I could see a team trying to pick up Laquan Treadwell. So I hope he ends up on our practice squad. Not sure if he will, though. But Pittman and Dulin are the other 2 receivers. That gives us 6 receivers, 4 running backs, 3 quarterbacks. Then, obviously, our starting 5 offensive linemen. It's time to get rid of Blake Freeland. He's been awful. Jake Witt, really not any better. And just because of who we've drafted, Danny Pinter bites the dust. I think Bortolini, Dalton Tucker, Mack, and Savez stay. Possibility of Arlington Hambright, and I think we did count him, right? I think we counted him towards part of it. Let's see, 3, 7, 13, and the 5 starters. That puts it at 18, and 19, 20, 21. So we did not count Hambright. So those are the 3 backups: Bortolini, Tucker, Gonçalves. Those are the 3 backup offensive linemen, which I think is what we did last season. We took 3 active backups every week, I'm pretty sure. And then, again, because of the Jelani Woods injury, easy decision on which tight ends to take: Mo Alley Cox, Kylan Granson, Drew Ogletree, Will Mallory. And I think Will Mallory is going to get more and more playing time as the season goes on, to be completely honest with you. So we'll take 25 there, and then 25 from the defense, and then the 3 starters. And 25 from the defense are Kwity Paye, Latu, DeForest Buckner, Tomiade, Grover Stewart, Raekwon Davis, Tyquan Lewis, Dio Dingbo, Isaiah Land, EJ Speed, Jalen Carlisle, Zaire Franklin, Cameron McGrone, Segan Alubi, Grant Stewart, Juju Brents, Dallas Flowers, Nick Cross, Rodney Thomas, Julian Blackman, Ronnie Harrison, Kenny Moore, Jalen Jones, DJ Baker Jr., and obviously Rigo, Matt Gay, Luke Rhodes, who you have down here. That's my 53-man roster projection. Okay, that's who I'm going with. Okay, and I'm pretty sure I got that right. 9, 6, 15, 20, 24. And then, so we do have an extra body. Who is I missing? Did we take 26 from the offense? It might have been Arlington Hambright. So the way we're doing this right now, because I only counted 24 even with Isaiah Land, I only counted 24. So let's make a decision, Colts Nation. Chris Lamons. Who's the decisions here? Arlington Hambright, Chris Lamons, or Micah Abraham, I think, are really our choices here. And I'd say personal preference, Micah Abraham. That'd just be my personal preference. Will that happen? Probably not. I think Chris Lamons. I mean, I guess they're all backups. They've all been up and down. I don't know, man. It's tough. I think we got the 52 right. It's that 53rd that's going to be a hard decision. Again, we keep coming back to that. Difficult decisions. It's nice to have difficult decisions, though. It means we have a good roster. When the bottom of the roster gets better, that means everything elevates, right? So just hoping for good performances come week 1, right? We have the Texans right around the corner. We're 2 weeks away, right? It's Sunday, August 25th. We are 2 weeks away, man. It's actually 1 p.m. We are exactly 2 weeks away from Colts football. Real Colts football. Texans coming into Lucas Oil to come get smacked up. C.J. Stroud, Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, the crew coming in to get smacked up. Zaire Franklin, E.J. Speed, the boys, they ain't playing. Kenny Moore, all-pro season in 2024. Juju Brent's going to stay healthy, be a star. Jalen Jones is a dog. Okay, the season's right around the corner, and I can't wait. See what y'all been talking about. What's Rodney Thomas' development been? I haven't really heard of him this offseason. Yeah, I mean, he's basically being replaced by Nick Cross, right? So from year 1 to year 2, we didn't really see anything spectacular. Like he made spot plays, but was really inconsistent. Like the Texans, the Texans beating us and getting the number 2 pick, right? And we end up getting the number 4 pick that season. I think that's how that worked out, right? Because the Texans beat us. I don't remember. Something like that. But we end up getting Anthony Richardson because of it, right? So, in that aspect, it was good. But Rodney Thomas made a terrible play and gave up the touchdown that made us lose at the last second to the Texans. In 2022. So Rodney Thomas just hasn't been good enough. So and he lost his job last season because of it. Cross, Blackman, Harrison, Thomas. Yeah, so we're on the same page there. Flowers, awful. Yeah. Hoping he gains his ability back, man. He really impressed me coming in last year. We needed somebody to step up as cornerback 1. I thought he did that. And then goes down with the Achilles injury, which is mad unfortunate. So hopefully he's able to gain some form back, just like Anthony Richardson, right? Come back from devastating injuries. You can't expect guys to be themselves. And I've heard enough older players talk about it over time where it's like that first season back, it's not just getting back into the routine of things and learning how to play football again. It's getting your confidence back, going through the motions. It's an adjustment for guys to come back and build the body back after taking basically a year of not being able to put pressure and not being able to put weight on things and not being able to really be themselves on the field because they're still working back. They have to work back to be themselves and then go through an off season, right? They have to they go through rehab. and then get back into the season. A lot of these guys, boom, rehab, and then I got to work to get back to be myself. Then that next off season, they actually have some downtime. They have time to get healthy, get their mind right, let their body heal up, and just give it some real rest while also, working out, staying in shape. But a real off season is what these guys need. And, Dallas Flowers didn't have that. Anthony Richardson didn't have that. And Anthony Richardson didn't have that last year. Right, the college, going from college to the NFL, it's training, and then the combine, and then boom, you're in rookie mini camps and this and that, and boom, you're in training camp. Like, rookies don't have downtime, so Anthony Richardson hasn't had that. He'll benefit from that next offseason. Dallas Flowers also will benefit from that next offseason, which is why I don't want to give up on him. I want to let him continue to work on the second team behind Juju, behind Jalen. Let him continue to get reps in practice against the ones, and it'll come. It'll come with time, but he needs time. If he can sit behind Juju and Jalen, right, and he's not playing, that will give him the time for his body to not go through those things and for him to get right, for him to really get back to the way he is, so that if he has to step up and if he has to come into a game or a couple of games or finish the season for us later in the year, it'll be better for him to do that, later on. It's just his body, with how much he's had to work to try to be himself again and to get back on the field, he just needs rest. He's only human. These guys, the people in the NFL are superhuman. Like, that's just, they're a different breed. They are. But at the end of the day, they are still human. And they still, they still deal with real life, aches and pains and how it affects their day-to-day and how it affects, obviously, how they perform on the field. So, that was kind of a long-winded answer to just a comment there. But I think Dallas Flowers, hopefully Dallas Flowers is going to be fine. I don't know if he will. Again, he looked pretty bad. But I think he looked good enough last year as cornerback one that I'm hopeful he'll regain that. He just has to work back to being himself once again. Lamb will get capped. He'll get picked up by another team fast. Yeah, 100% KT. Can't let Land go. I think keeping him on the roster and on the 53 is the only answer. A funny feeling Land is going to get cut, a victim of numbers game. Yeah. And yeah, that could be one of the hard decisions, right? When you're looking at hard decisions, he could be one of them. If they want to keep a corner and get rid of depth on the defensive line, that's a choice they can make. Now, I don't think they'll do that because you have Tyquan Lewis and Dio Dingbo who can play on the inside also, and they're part of the speed packages, right? That they want to run on, second downs, second and long, third and longs, passing situations. Those guys will be part of the speed package, and Isaiah Land can be somebody that's a depth piece on the defensive line in those situations. And if injuries happen, especially on offensive and defensive line, those guys. Collisions all day long, and they, roll up on each other, so things happen. So it'd be smart for us to keep Isaiah Land. Now, I never mentioned Titus Leo, and I see one of the next comments here, actually the next comment by Truett here, no Leo. Yeah, no Leo for me. I think last year he got injured. He got injured during training camp, was able to come back, fairly quickly, honestly. But I just think you have a guy who had a serious knee injury last year, missed, a week or so of training camp because of a knee injury. And did he really show anything in preseason anyways? Like, has he stood out? So he's somebody, I think Gernard Avery is somebody that should be on the practice squad. I think Jonah Lalu could be on the practice squad, maybe a developmental guy for the future. Eric Johnson is an interesting name. Taven Bryan's going to bite the dust for sure. Eric Johnson, though, is an interesting name to keep an eye on and what's going to happen with him. But I don't think Titus Leo's in the conversation. Levi Bell, I wouldn't be mad if he ended up on our practice squad. Now, the decision there is going to be how much do people on the practice squad make? How much does he make? Right? He was a standout in the UFL? Is he going to make more money in the UFL? Will he be able to play in the UFL if he's on a practice squad? And I think he would be able to. I know the NFL and the UFL have a deal together. And I don't know the details of that deal, but I assume it's, in that deal, like, hey, if a practice squad guy has a chance to go and get some real game action in the UFL in the offseason, he wants to take the chance at doing that, then he can go do that in his offseason. I assume they can do that. So Levi Bell, it'd be cool if he made our practice squad. I think he's a good hustler. And I think you just need guys with high motors, right? When you're looking at depth pieces, you can coach a guy up, right? Again, he stand out in the UFL. He's not terrible. He made some plays, but I noticed Levi Bell all the time because, first of all, 61, not a sexy number. But because it's not a sexy number, it stands out, and you see him running all over the field. His athleticism shows up on tape, which I think is a good thing. So hopefully Levi Bell ends up on the practice squad. Marcel Dabo's not going to take a position up because he's part of the IPP, International Player Program, coming from Germany a few years ago. He doesn't take up a roster spot at all, so you can kind of do whatever with him. But, yeah, we're talking about the defensive line. I was about to start going through my practice squad and who should be there. But, yeah, Titus Leo, no, I don't think Titus Leo makes it. Been a fan since 2001, year we drafted Reggie Wayne. What about y'all? So, I don't actually know the exact year I became a Colts fan. I know I was born in Indianapolis, grew up in Indianapolis. My family, my grandpa has season tickets ever since the Colts went to Indianapolis. So, I mean, for me, like forever. I'm 31 years old. Like, I've been a Colts fan for 31 years, I'm pretty sure, So that's 1993. Believe Harbaugh was our quarterback at that time. I didn't know it, but I'm pretty sure Harbaugh was our quarterback at that time. Let's see. You make me feel old, JT. Been a fan since 1971 when I was a little kid. Baltimore Colts. Yeah, I root for the laundry. Or for the laundry, not the city. Hell yeah. Lamb's made a big play in the preseason. Yeah, there were a couple guys that made those splash plays in the preseason. Layman's the only thing with Layman's is he's not the best tackler. And I know a lot of times corners aren't. But Layman's as somebody who played defense, somebody who played linebacker, seeing Layman's be so bad at tackling, it's we might as well just go after Mike Abraham at that point. 'Cause he's a small guy from Marshall, a rookie. Is he going to be a better tackler? I don't know, but we might as well keep him and develop him, right? I don't want to. Here's my thing with Mike Abraham real quick, okay? And it's quick. If we let him go, it's going to feel like Isaiah Rodgers. It's going to feel just like that. He's so good. He's going to be so good for the Eagles. Mike Abraham can be good in the future. I think he will be good in the future. I don't want to let him go. I don't. I'm being Ronnie. I see King Hill out here in the comment section. See, I'm curious. Did he start the video from the beginning, the live stream from the beginning, or is he live? I feel like he's watching from the beginning right now. But, yeah, Bean and Ronnie, got them making the team. I think Jason Bean's the emergency quarterback. Ronnie Harrison going to make the team. Low-key want Xavier Scott over Hull. I want Xavier Scott and Hull. I think Trey Sermon, very expendable. I think Demetric Fulton can kick rocks. I don't mean to sound so mean about it, but that's just the way it is. I think Evan Hull is dynamic and should be on the roster. I think Xavier Scott looked really good. Good patient runner, but also has speed and explosiveness. So I like him. And Tyler Goodson and the familiarity that he has, I think, and so what he showed. I think he was up and down in the preseason, but I think he showed enough to make the roster, and he was available. That's the thing; they were all available. So that's how I think that'll go. So, man, I appreciate you guys stopping by. I've seen the number go up a little bit as we've been here. So appreciate you guys stopping by. Appreciate you for hanging out with me on this Sunday stroll. Again, going to start looking at tape. Going to start going through things. Not sure if we're going to have another video today, but I want to start looking at tape, and we will have more videos as the days roll on. So, of course, make sure you subscribe with notifications on if you're not already. Excuse me. And share this with any friends, family, any Colts fans you know on your social medias, whatever it is. We're so close, man. We are this close to 1,500 subscribers. We've been edging 1,500 for like 2 weeks now. So, share this with your people, man. Get people in here watching the video, subscribing. Of course, hit that like button for me. That, of course, helps the channel a lot. Dropping comments on videos helps the channel a lot. Helps us get into that algorithm, you know what I mean? Want to push this out to as many Colts fans as possible and get as many Colts fans' opinions as possible. I like having the pulse of Colts Nation. So, again, subscribe, notifications, share with all your people. I appreciate you guys so much for stopping by, man. Love you guys. I'm trying to get to a position where we can do a giveaway, okay? We're almost to 1,500. Like, I wanted to do a giveaway at 1,000. I want to do a giveaway very soon. I just, got to be able to afford to do a giveaway. So we'll do something soon, especially for the diehards, man. You guys come in every day. I see you guys in here so often. So, not going to keep being corny and get on my spiel, but I do appreciate you guys so much for hanging out with me, spending your time with me here on this Sunday. Just a couple weeks from real football, so... with that said, have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys soon. As always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.